go.
What's up?
What's going on? We are here, people. We are here. You know what it is, RJ Fantasy Football Talk. I'm riding this Jay. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's been 2 weeks since our last show, and it's been a good 2 weeks. The wife and I just celebrated our 13th anniversary yesterday. So
Congrats, congrats.
keeping it going and having fun. They said a Chiefs fan and a Raiders fan couldn't make it work this long, but
Oh God.
Really? And that's more so on the sports part.
yeah, but
Oh God.
we still
In the
going and
off
kicking.
season, we cool.
In the off season, we cool. So
Yeah.
it's been good. It's been good. Work is cool. Yo, I should link to this. There was I don't know if everybody out in the audience watches all the European Space Agency rocket launches.
hmm
But they actually launched a satellite yesterday. They actually launched it here in California. Not here. I'm in Baltimore, but
Yeah,
in
we
the
get what
United
you're
States
saying.
and California,
hmm
they launched it yesterday, and it's a satellite that I'm going to be working with a team on. So I'm kind of really excited about that. It was one of the few times I've actually sat and watched a rocket launch. So it's up there flying around, and it's not quite collecting data yet, but they're doing the pre stuff to get making sure everything is working properly. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be some exciting but busy times. So yeah,
Well,
like I
well,
said,
look,
it's been a busy week, and it's good. How about you? What's happening on your end?
man, you know how I do, man. Lord have mercy. I was running late tonight. Kids got practice, and bro, it's long, long, long.
Yeah.
But other than that, the weekend was great though, cause I was off Monday and I took Tuesday off, so I kind of
Oh, okay.
chilled out a little bit. I just I ain't really taking no days off. But speaking of anniversaries, my 15-year anniversary is coming up in August. So,
Awesome.
so hey, I got birthdays. My daughter's turning 10. So it's a lot of stuff going on. She's trying to be a teenager now for some reason. So
Hey,
yeah.
you get them 2 digits, you pretty
Oh
much there,
gosh,
and mentally, you
I ain't ready for it.
yeah,
I
ready
ain't ready
for it.
for it. No,
Get
no.
ready, because
Get,
she's a girl.
she's a
Get
girl,
ready.
and she's a girl's girl.
Oh yeah, she's
so
definitely a
so
girl's girl. We
so she,
talking perfume,
uh huh.
fingernails, across the
You better
books.
get
Yeah,
ready.
Yeah,
she
Get
started that
ready.
early.
you got
So
your work cut out for you.
man, let me tell you something. I ain't ready for that. But you know what? I'm gonna be ready because that's what I do.
There you go.
I'm always prepared. That's so we good. Other than that, man, just working, man. Just trying to get some rest. But the kids keep me
Yeah.
going, man. They keep me young around here, man. I tell you. So, but
So,
hey,
Memorial Day, did you have any cookout things
nope.
going on?
I was
Just
on the
relaxing,
couch,
taking
on the
it
couch,
easy.
man. Yeah. Plus, it was Sunday.
Yeah.
It rained quite a bit. Saturday
So,
it rained quite a
mm-hmm.
bit. Sunday it rained a little bit, and Monday it was raining again. So it was like it wasn't no point
Yeah,
really. So
and I don't know about there, but it rained here again today, so it's been nothing but rain. So
yeah,
we didn't do any cooking out either. Unfortunately, our plans were to cook something inside, so we stayed dry. But shout out to the veterans that served, and of course, respect to those that made the ultimate sacrifices Memorial Day.
definitely,
Um,
definitely.
Hey, also of course in the news, Bill Walton passed away.
Yes,
Uh, uh, he one of the best college players ever, and pro career got cut a little bit short
a little short.
with his foot things, but he still was a champion and a dominant big man. Back in the days when big men were big men,
Yeah,
are you watching this series? One of the funniest things, TNT, which sadly rumors say is coming to an end.
bro, that's
They
so
talk
sad
about your
about that.
boy. They talk about Cat. Like this dude is 7 foot tall
He's
and
soft.
he's soft and just shoots 3 pointers. Like I'm like, dude, why? Did you
I
know
I
you're
was
7 feet tall?
I was just talking to DJ about that the other day.
Yeah,
When we was talking about it, and I just don't understand how big as he is,
yes,
he chooses to. But I told him I was like, well, Cat been in the 3-point contest for the last two
yeah,
three years,
Like
And
makes no
he's
sense.
so accustomed to shooting 3-pointers now. He don't even know what it is to go down to the basket. So I'm like, somebody need to pull him to the side and say, look,
Yeah,
you're 7 foot tall. You need to put your back to the basket. What's the problem? So I don't know, man. He's just too soft for me, to be
yeah.
honest with you.
I'm
He's
not.
soft, and then Anthony Edwards needs him. He need him. He need that second
Yeah,
guy to win. Even though Anthony Edwards is gonna be playing well, it's just, man, I tell you, Cat is really being soft and it's hurting him a whole lot. I do want to bring up one thing.
yeah.
The Negro League. They brought up.
Oh
I don't know if you
yeah.
heard the news.
Uh-huh.
That they actually installed the records from the Negro Leagues, and it's one guy, I can't think of his name, but he now holds the records for a bunch of records over Babe Ruth. Um, it's a bunch. I can't think of his name, but if you look it up, you'll see it.
I had that,
Yeah.
but I
Um.
deleted it off my phone because I know he broke
Yeah.
Ty Cobb's
Josh
record.
Yeah,
Gibson is that or
No,
something
I
like that.
just had that too.
But our resident expert on the Negro Leagues, I say that somewhat jokingly. Kansas City has the Negro League Museum, so
yeah.
Sydney is from there. So the next time
Go
we're gonna cat out. So
KC
we're gonna
Monarchs!
Kansas City Monarchs, of course, one
So
of the historic teams.
I just
But
wanted
yeah,
to shout that out. That's big.
yeah, that's huge.
That's huge for baseball in itself. And I think they probably did it because the fans really, you don't really see too many African American
Yeah,
uh, black baseball players anymore. It's more of
yeah, not
Hispanics,
anymore. Yeah,
not anymore. So I think they want to kind of get them back involved, and I think this is a move to try to do that. And it's a good move on
oh
their
yeah,
part, to be honest with you.
it's definitely a good move.
So me personally, I think it's perfect what they did. A lot of people are not going to agree with him breaking the Ty Cobb records and the Babe Ruths and all that stuff. Um,
Josh Gibson, by the way, welcome Doomsday's Corner Sports. Jordan there with us. Yeah, Josh Gibson. That's what I thought.
yeah,
I mean,
That's it.
and we also had the Supreme Uncle in. But yeah, as you were saying, yeah, some people are going to be a little bit, but
yeah,
given the time that so many of these players weren't allowed to play in the big leagues, and the Negro leagues, if you look into the history, they were
oh,
ballers out there,
yeah,
right? And so, it's gonna be a bit of a disruption, if you
of
will, for
course,
those that are the historical guys. That some people just know all the baseball stats forever.
exactly.
It's gonna be a disruption of people that used to be the leaders have switched, and
Hmm.
I get that, but I think it's a good move overall. I'm with
Yeah,
you on that one. So
and like I said, they trying to probably promote because they want to get the youth involved. They want to get African American kids involved in baseball because a lot of them they tend to go to football, basketball, soccer,
mm-hmm.
those type of sports. So they don't really tend to baseball like they used to.
Right,
So I think, and I'm not saying they just did it because of that, but I think that was just a great gesture of
yeah.
them doing that because nobody really thought they was going to do that, and it just popped out in the news.
Baseball don't change much. Baseball changes,
So
so it was unexpected, but it's a
yeah,
good story. It's a good story.
definitely. So
Thanks for remembering to bring that up.
yeah. So
Any NFL football news we
um,
need to talk about?
not
It's still
really.
the
I mean,
off season.
it's
Yeah,
still bunch of training camp stuff. Did have a question. We was talking behind the scenes about this.
yeah,
What to do with Justin Jefferson's situation um, in Minnesota.
yeah.
Then Chase is holding out. Higgins is holding out. So my
Well,
question for
if they're a
you
wide
is,
receiver, they're holding out. Basically, is
yes,
the way this thing. Except for, of course, you guys signed a wide
Brandon.
receiver today.
I we
So
signed Jennings
Jawan
today,
Jennings,
but that ain't Brandon Ayuk.
not
So,
even.
so my question for you is it what's the? I understand Jefferson because he wants to really. He's in that last.
Yeah.
I want to say he was in 2021. Was it 20 or 21 he came in?
Let's look it up. I want to say
I want to say
20.
20.
Yeah, I want to say 20. I think it's
He
been
came
before.
he came in
I
at
think
20
it's
because
yeah,
he
because
came
it's
in
a
before
little
Chase.
yeah.
So my question for you is, how do you feel about them holding out, and do you think it's like kind of bad for the team that they're holding out?
I've said on the show before, and I say it again. I used to be one of those guys to say, "Hey, honor your contract, holding out, you being greedy, asking for money." The way the NFL works now, and the way these owners are, I'm for everybody holding out
Hmm.
because look, you've got a limited time to make the money, so I'm all for look. The owners aren't trying to look. They're trying to skip on player salaries whenever they can. Running backs, which we'll be talking about tonight, are the key to getting that. So,
Yeah.
wide receivers are getting paid now, so they better take advantage of it. And quite frankly, Justin Jefferson's one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the league. So I totally get him. If I'm them, I'm making sure we get a deal done
Okay.
because they have a young quarterback, and he needs someone like a Justin Jefferson there.
That's true.
Because as we were saying before, sometimes the wide receiver can make the quarterback better.
Yes.
Look, you can be a little more inaccurate when you have a Justin Jefferson
That is true.
than you
That's
can if you
definitely
don't,
true.
right?
Lord, yeah.
And so give that guy the security blanket because I said and I said this when we were talking quarterbacks. Miami has a nice roster around. They're built to have a young quarterback,
Yep.
and if you get rid of Justin Jefferson, it messes that whole thing up. So they need to get the deal done. I say, and help your guy out. But I'm all like I said, I'm all for guys holding out. Get your money. I wish I could hold out in my job, but
Yeah.
look, if I hold out, they just gonna find someone else. So, but if you're in a deal to get like $30 million, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like with Chase and Higgins, I think obviously Chase can get paid. Now Higgins is the question mark. I feel like they don't
Yeah,
want to pay Higgins. I
yeah.
think they want Higgins to play out this last year at
I'm
20 million and then let him
surprised they
walk.
didn't trade him last year. Honestly,
I'm surprised they didn't trade him this year. I
yeah,
mean, because now the question you gotta really answer is Higgins the number one receiver? Now, could he go to anybody else's team and become that guy? Can he be the number one receiver on somebody else's team? I think he can,
he
but he
was.
would he was,
Before Jamar Chase got there, T. Higgins was the number one guy, and he
but
was a he is a one.
well, I
So
know when you
yeah,
say when before Chase got there, but
yeah,
like he wasn't putting up Chase numbers. I'm saying,
yeah,
can he go there? Not everybody don't put up Chase numbers, but
yeah.
what I'm saying, the 12 to 1300 yards, can he be that guy to excuse me to put that up in another uniform? I think he can, and I think he would
Mm-hmm.
never get that opportunity again in Cincinnati. And I feel like he does need to go somewhere else because they want him to play on a franchise tag, and then and after that they're gonna let him go.
Yeah.
So I get it. So I don't know, you know, they got to do him right because speaking of contracts, I see Will Hayes. I see you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Nico Collins got paid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's a good thing. Now, Nico Collins been in the league since 20. Was it 20? I think either 20 or 21. He's been in the league 3 years,
Yeah.
so he's
I'm
going
gonna
into his
say
fourth year. I think that's a good contract for him. Now, what that does is somebody like a T. Higgins is looking at that and saying Nico did it for 1 year, just like Brandon Ayuk is saying
Mm-hmm.
Nico did it for 1 year. I did it for two. I did it for three, and I'm trying to get paid. What's the problem? But I like what Houston's doing. I like what a lot of teams
Yeah.
like Philly, Houston, they're taking care of their guys now. They're not waiting to deep into the summer around training camp time and then they missing time on the field. So I like what they did with stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mentioned that they're building a nice squad around their young quarterback in
mm-hmm.
Minnesota. They are showing up doing it this offseason down
and
in
he
Houston as well. And we
yes
saw what C.J. Stroud did
did with nothing.
when everybody thought the cupboards were empty, right?
Yep.
So what they're doing now is they're trying to ensure because hey the key I think they were seeing, and I go back to your team the 49ers, is if you got a young quarterback, win the Super Bowl while they're on their
Yep.
rookie contract. Y'all got one more year to try that, and then it
Oh
gets
yeah.
complicated. So Houston is like, yo, I think they surprised themselves being as good as they were last year. So they are sparing no expense to make
Yeah.
sure they stay with that opportunity. I'm seeing a race between Tyreek Hill and Terrell
And
Owens
didn't know
in
that.
the comments. I didn't see that one,
Me either.
but I would say I'm not surprised that Terrell Owens is in shape. And without even seeing the race, I would put $100
On
times
Tyreek
a
Hill.
hundred times another 100 on Tyreek Hill.
On Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I would too. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Welcome, Catherine Bracey, to the show. Everybody's coming in. Um,
Don't forget to like, please. We need
hit
the
like, hit
likes.
subscribe, tell your friends.
Thank you.
Uh, let's see. Any other big like you said, most of it's been just off season chatter, and
Yeah,
that's the thing about this time of year. You can't. It's news, but it's not
but it
really
ain't.
news
It's not
because
real news.
every quarterback's doing well. Running backs are looking like they're gonna take over the league. The coaches are always saying this is the squad. Everyone's like, blah 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 blah. None of it means anything.
Nothing.
That's the main thing about all season. It's just practice. It's important, but you can't gather anything from it.
Nope.
But I'm excited that it's happening because that means that football season is right around the corner.
It's upon us, and I can't
It's upon
wait.
us. So
Lord.
hey, the mission tonight, running backs.
Start running backs.
So a couple of weeks ago, we did wide receivers on the show, and we basically, for those that don't know, the way we do it, we don't give you rankings 1, 2, 3, 4. We put them in tiers, and so you're gonna see some groupings of who we think the best running backs are in tier 1. There'd be, just like the word the last time, in alphabetical order, and then you use these tier rankings for your draft to try to gauge what guys are available and where they should be. Welcome Nita, welcome Carla to the show. Glad you could all join us. Hey, you want to get us started?
Let's go. Tier 1. Brees Hall. No particular order now, people. This just, no 1, 2, or 3. It's just these guys are in this tier.
In fact, they're just in alphabetical order on your screen as you're looking at them.
Yeah. Brees Hall, Derrick Henry, CMC, Bijan Robinson.
Yeah. These are tier 1. These are your studs. These are we do these separately, but we kind of combine them. These are the guys that we both had in our tier 1 group. There's probably some people out there that say, "Hey, what about this guy?" They're coming. But let us know in the comments what you think about these groups. Is there anything left to say about Christian McCaffrey? I'll let you take it since he's on your 49ers. He does it every year as long as he's not hurt.
The man can do it all.
Yeah.
So I feel like as long as he's healthy, he's good. And I think he played his first full healthy season last year without really missing a game or two. So I think,
which surprised me because I always talk about your team and for some reason the 49ers lead the league in injuries all the time, but they've kept Christian McCaffrey healthy since he's been there. So hey, maybe it was Carolina, something in the water down there that was messing him up, but he's been good.
Honestly, overall he's been good. Yeah. I think he's been used a lot over the last year. Now, out of this list though, I think he may get surpassed this year by the likes of maybe a Bijan, maybe even a Brees Hall, maybe, where he may get past. So it's like, man, but you still can't go wrong with CMC as your guy.
Yeah,
I'm trying to fix my screen because it's like I'm not in the picture.
Yeah, go over that way. Well, that way.
This way. Right here?
Yeah, there you go. You're moving in the right direction. A little bit more,
and
you'll be good.
A little bit more.
Hey, welcome. We got Jamal in the house. Maybe questionable about this first tier. I don't think you can argue the people that are in tier 1. You might say someone's missing, but these are the studs, and I'm with you. I'm really big on. I did not change that. Thank you. That Derrick Henry should say. Baltimore. I guess my mind was in the past when I wrote that. Yeah, that Derrick Henry is Baltimore. Thanks for that correction. I didn't even see that when I was doing it. But yeah, I'm actually excited about Derrick Henry because
me too.
He got 1,000 yards a year ago with
a terrible old line
and bad offensive line, bad quarterback, and the Ravens got rid of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. and all they do is run the ball
Yep.
up here in Baltimore. So I am very excited to see he's getting a little long in the tooth, if you will. So a lot of people might be like, you hit that age 30, you get around there, there's a drop off. I don't see a drop off happening. Derrick
Now,
Henry is not human, and so
I don't see that either. I think Gus Edwards had 12 touchdowns last year.
yeah,
I want to say 12. If Gus can get 12, he can get 15. So, I mean, I, I like him on this list.
yeah,
So, I'm good with that. I'm good with this list. I can't even complain about this list because I think Kirk Cousins good. He's gonna make Bijan a lot better. He's already good, but Kirk Cousins, better quarterback. I think he's gonna make Bijan really good. And I think Brees Hall having Aaron Rodgers, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers, but I think having an Aaron Rodgers as a threat back there to actually throw the football,
yeah.
I think that's gonna be huge for him.
We're gonna. I love Brees Hall. I have him on a dynasty squad, and I am very excited about what this season will be. Um,
Hmm.
I'm trying to decide: do I think it's Aaron Rodgers dependent? Is he gonna be better this year because Aaron Rodgers is there? You would think
But it's
it
funny.
would give him the room, but yeah,
He finished number one in
yeah,
our league last year with that quarterback
yeah,
situation. So, and that's between running and passing, receiving, obviously.
yeah,
But I do think with Aaron Rodgers there, Aaron Rodgers is a better threat than any
yeah.
quarterback they had, obviously. So, just to throw the football. So, I think at the end of the day, I think that's going to make him even more because coming out of the backfield, he's a three down back. He catches out of the backfield. So,
Yeah. Brees Hall was just short of 1,000 rushing yards last year. I will put money on he's over 1,000 this year.
all these, yes.
Yeah.
But I know he had
He
how many receiving yards he had?
uh I don't know off the top.
What?
I know his rushing numbers, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So I know he had some good numbers as far as receiving last year too. So and and thing is, he started the season slow
Yeah.
because he was coming off that injury. So I think at the end of the day, I think he'll be good, and I think he could overtake McCaffrey if they kind of split. And I don't think they're gonna take anything away from McCaffrey, but he is 28. He's about to be 28, 27, 28. So they kind of might want to slow some of his carries down and kind of give him some rest so he can be good for the preseason. I mean, for the postseason.
I hope not. For fantasy, look, I don't get points in the postseason
I'm
for
just
fantasy.
telling you,
So
like what they
look,
thinking. That's all.
I don't care what they do for their team. I'm worried
Okay,
about my fantasy
I'm not
squad.
mad at
So
that at all.
hey,
So
Christian McCaffrey is the man. I hope he stays
I
that
hope.
way.
Look,
So
I might get him this year. Just depends on I'm not gonna reach for him, but definitely he's there.
yeah. So those are your tier one can't miss guys. Again, sorry for the typo. Overlook with Derrick Henry, but yes, he's with Baltimore, and I'm gonna watch him play a couple of times this year up in Baltimore. So I jump to tier two, and Jamal, you'll see Jahmyr Gibbs here. And by the way, I actually thought Jahmyr Gibbs was a tier one. I'm really big on him this year, but we have to work these out. Is a compromise. So we got A Chain again in alphabetical order. Saquon Barkley, who you had as a tier one guy, and I
Yes,
can see why.
yes,
James Cook, Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs again, Josh Jacobs left my Raiders and is now over there in Green Bay, and Jonathan Taylor makes the tier two list. Obviously, on this list, you think that Saquon is a tier one kind of guy. Tell us why.
in that in that Philly offense,
Uh huh.
because I'm not gonna say they're a fully running team because they do pass the ball quite a bit, but I think in that offense, I think he's gonna get a bunch. If you just go back and watch how Swift
Yeah.
was used 2 years ago and how he was on limited carries, basically I think Saquon is going to get way more carries than he got 2 years ago, and they that old line is good in Philly. So I think he's going. I think I had him as a tier one. Even and I
Yeah.
want to say this. I had Jameer Gibbs as a tier one, but at the end I
Oh,
took him
you
out
switched it.
and I switched it and I put him in a two. But because I'm thinking about he's still
He
kind of
still's
splitting
gonna
the
be switching with Monty a little
yeah,
bit.
so
Yeah.
he's still kind of switching with Monty a little bit in that back, but I think it's going to be more of a 60-40
Yeah.
split Gibbs' way. So that's why I kind of moved him down. A lot of those guys, like that's why I put Saquon there. Saquon ain't sharing with nobody.
Yeah.
So Saquon is going to get all the carries and he's going to get a lot of passes out of the backfield. So I think Saquon's going to have a good year. Now, as far as my surprise, I'm hoping this guy stays healthy, and that's
AJ.
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor. Okay.
Jonathan
Yeah.
Taylor, because we seen. I'm not gonna say we seen the best version of Jonathan Taylor, but we seen a
We
healthy
seen what
Jonathan
he can
Taylor.
be. Yeah.
Yes. Um, I'm hoping Jonathan Taylor stay right, man, because when he play, he's right. He's good.
Yeah.
He had that 1 year where he was just awesome, and then like something happened.
Yeah.
So
He got injured and kind of been iffy, you might say, but I think he's on the comeback, and so yeah,
me too.
I think it's gonna be a beast. I like Saquon too, for all the reasons you said before. The only
Hmm.
thing that has him for me a little bit lower than the other guys in the tier one group is
Hmm.
in New York. He was like 80% of the offense. That they had no other talented players. Truth be told, he
True.
single handedly got Daniel Jones $40 million
Paid.
a year, right?
Paid. Got him paid.
In Philadelphia, yo, that team is stacked. He's gonna have to compete with Jalen Hurts for touchdowns because Jalen Hurts will rush for
That's
touchdowns.
true.
That
That's
might take it.
true.
But now Jason Kelsey retired, so maybe the tush push isn't quite as
Eh,
effective as it was a year ago. But my thinking is he's gonna have to share with a talented quarterback who's gonna challenge for rushing yards and touchdowns. He's gonna have to compete with actual wide receivers, unlike he had
okay.
over there. But I still, despite that, I still say when the Eagles announced that they were signing Saquon, I was like, that's just not fair because he's going to be a beast. Like you said, that offensive line, no, even without Kelsey there, that offensive line is no joke. He's going to put up some monster numbers for Philly. So
So, well,
I'm feeling that all the
what
way.
if this happens? Because Jalen Hurts got hurt quite a bit. He was hurt
Yeah,
during the season just from a lot of that
he
running.
was. He was
Now
hurt at the yeah. You could tell at the end of the year he won't.
he was hurt. He
He was hurt.
wasn't right.
So
Now, do you think by going Saquon, they
they try to
scale
take some of that
back
off.
Jalen Hurts running all
Good point.
those? So that's why I said that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing.
Yeah,
But I'm looking at the good end of it because Jalen Hurts, he was broken up.
he was.
Those
You,
when they went on
you
that
were right.
losing streak, he was hurt, and you could see he was hurt. But he was playing, but he was definitely hurt. Now going to get Saquon, that may and think about it, last year the running game wasn't that good.
Hmm.
It wasn't as good as it was the year before, so he had to make up for that. Now I see him throwing more than actually passing. I mean, than running this year because they don't want him running the ball like that. Now, when they get down to the goal line, that's where you put Saquon. That's
Uh-huh.
what you pay him for. So I think maybe you might you
You
might be
might be
on to
on to
something.
something. You might.
I'm trying to tell you. So that's my thought about it. So I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but they
I
might
say
want to scale it
this.
back.
I think Saquon Barkley might slip through people's cracks in them thinking, like I was saying, and you might be able to get Saquon Barkley. Not he's still going no later than the second round,
Yeah,
but he probably in a lot of the AT. We talked about average draft position in the past.
yeah.
I'm seeing him fall to like a second round running back in a lot of people's lists.
Mm-mm.
So hey, if you pick him up, then you can do some damage because he is one of those guys that could potentially lead the league in rushing, and it would not be a surprise. Um, another we talked about Jameer Gibbs as a young guy, and he should have a that Detroit offense is going to be really good. So I'm not
Yes,
surprised that he's this high on the list. He's going to be good. Another young guy on this list, James Cook,
I
up in
like James Cook.
Buffalo. I think he has the ability to really put us, especially since there's no Stephon Diggs. They were talking that everyone's going to get a chance to eat on the Buffalo
Yep.
offense this year because they're going to have to spread that thing around. And James Cook was looking good last year. I think he's going to have an even better year
Now
this year.
I think James Cook is gonna because
Mm-hmm.
he's really. I think he's gonna get a lot of passes out of the backfield
Mm-hmm.
because he got a lot of that during the
Yeah.
season last year. They're gonna depend on him a lot as far as a receiver, and I think in those
Yeah.
PPR leagues, I think he's gonna be
Yeah.
really good for
He's gonna be a
somebody.
PPR dynamo.
Oh my gosh, because they. I mean, if you look at their receiving core, it is not the greatest. I mean, if you
Yeah.
truly want to be honest about it, um, I think don't sleep on him. I
Mm-hmm.
say that. I say don't sleep on him because he is going to surprise a lot of people
Yeah.
this year, and they're gonna use him. They're gonna run him, and they're gonna make sure he get the
Yeah.
ball. So you ain't got to worry about that because they really. I'm not gonna say they don't have nothing else, but when you go into the
Mm-hmm.
season with a rookie receiver and a bunch of old
Mm-hmm.
veterans that ain't really produced in years, you kind of gotta like. It's gonna be a lot of running from Josh Allen. It's gonna be a lot of running from James Cook.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of passing out of the backfield. So I think James Cook, he may. You talking about somebody falling through the cracks? He may fall through the
Look,
cracks,
he,
and he
he
may be a surprise.
James Cook all-purpose yards was over 1,500 a year ago. So
Yes,
y'all sleep on him if you want to. I intend to be looking for him in a lot of redraft leagues.
yes.
I don't have the fortune of having him in on any of my dynasty squads, but for
But
redraft,
redrafts definitely. But I
yeah.
think you can get him late in redrafts. I
Mm-hmm.
think if you, I ain't gonna say late, but I feel like you can get him. I think a lot of those tier one guys are gonna go first. I still
Mm-hmm.
think like a Saquon is gonna go ahead of him. Even somebody like a Jacobs in Green Bay, different scenery, but I think Jacobs still gonna play well.
Yeah.
Um, is probably gonna go. Now the one that I'm afraid to touch is A Chain. A
For
Chain,
the injury,
not
or
even the injury. It's
okay,
just the fact that Raheem must have had 21 touchdowns last year, and then they drafted another running back this
yeah.
year. So it's like, is he gonna get? Is it?
Well,
How much is that split of he
well,
gonna get?
well. I said not even 10 minutes ago, off-season talk. You can't believe any of it. But
Yeah.
McDaniels is saying expect A-Chain to have a really big part of the offense this year. Um,
Ah,
I know, right? It's just like
ooh, I don't know
believe it
about
if you
that.
want to. But here's my A-Chain endorsement. How many games did he play last year? Because I think he played like 10 or 11
10, 10
games,
games. Yeah,
and he was a monster in
he
all those
was.
games. And that's Mustard can be there, but Mustard's getting longer. If they draft a new guy who's a rookie, I expect A-Chain to be that guy for Miami this year. So I feel you. That's another team where there's a lot of mouths to feed.
I
Uh,
just feel like Mustard takes a lot of his touchdowns near the goal line.
yeah,
A lot of them, and they brought Mustard back on a 2 year deal. I'm
yeah,
not saying that means anything, but he had 21 touchdowns last year.
yeah.
You can't really discount that a lot.
You're right there.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's a little scary for me, but I wouldn't go A Chain over Barkley or Cook or Jonathan
Nah,
Taylor or
nah.
Jacob. He would be right below them. He's in this tier, though. But
In this group, the only person I think I'd take after him is Josh Jacobs. Uh, and not because I just look, not because Josh Jacobs left the
oh,
Raiders.
come on,
It's not
no.
hate.
Okay.
It's more so part of that new team adjustment kind of thing, uh, where I plus Josh Jacobs has a tendency to be hurt himself. But I'm
Hmm.
not taking A-Chain over Barkley, Cook, Travis Etienne. I think is gonna feast. Jameer Gibbs, I love. Jonathan Taylor, I
Yeah.
always love. So, nah, I think I'm right. Josh Jacobs is the only potential guy, and I say potential because if hey, I like what they're doing in Green Bay as well. So
Yeah, me too.
maybe he's the last one in this group, but he definitely belongs in the group.
Oh
But
no, I'm not
yeah,
taking
yeah,
him out of the group. I think he belongs here. It's just when you got it's a lot, man. It's a lot of mouths to feed. Now when he's right and doing work, you're getting the right. You're getting a chain.
yeah.
You getting a. Now I wouldn't go super high. I wouldn't reach for him when there's
Mm.
other guys there that's possible you can get. That's just for me. I wouldn't do that. But
I can
as
respect that.
as far as you gotta have him on your roster at some point. But give me Saquon first. Give me Cook first. But that's just for me is a little bit because Raheem might come in and have 2 touchdowns and take all that from him. So that's what kind of scares me a little bit. So
What do you what do you think on this comment? We got Jamal on James Cook and Pacheco, kind of the same play in terms of fantasy. You see similarities there?
no, I think they're used different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with James Cook, he's gonna be more of I need James Cook to do work because we don't have anything else there.
Yeah,
Pacheco in Kansas City is you know what Mahomes is gonna do. Mahomes is gonna spread the ball around. They're gonna
and that's
it ain't the same to me. For me, and Jamal, I could be wrong, but it ain't the same for me because Pacheco is not a major piece of the offense, but he's a part of the offense. James Cook is a major
well,
piece.
I would still
I'm not
count Pacheco as a major part of the Kansas City offense,
not as major
but
as
to your
Cook
point,
though.
no, definitely not that. But the issue is what you said before with Kansas City. You never know who's going to eat on a given
Exactly.
day, and
At least you
Pacheco
know
in the
James
passing
Cook.
game is not the most effective guy they
No,
have on that roster. In that they, for one, they brought Clyde Edwards-Helaire back, which
back
was
and he
a bit
comes
of a
in for that
surprise to me, and he comes in for
for
that.
the third
So,
down.
so
James Cook
James
is
Cook is
a
that dude.
3 down back.
Yeah,
So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He's the more guy. He James Cook is going to be on the field first, second, and third
yeah,
down. Pacheco first and second, then they bring in somebody else because he's not the catching guy.
yeah,
So you're still gonna get more efficient. You can get more points and more yards, total yards from a
yeah.
James Cook than you would Pacheco. Not saying either one are bad. Like I like Pacheco, honestly. I just think if I'm gonna go either one, I'm going James Cook
Yeah.
first, then Pacheco. So that's just me.
Not mad at that. Anyone else we left out
I
of
mean,
here? I think we hit everybody.
we didn't talk about. I say Travis, right?
Okay.
I've been. You remember last year they talked about the guy taking some carries from Travis.
Yeah,
They
Tank
saying it
Bigsby.
again. Tank Bigsby taking. They saying it again.
Yeah,
I don't believe it, obviously,
I needed to happen.
but I need.
I got him in the
Gosh,
dynasty league. I needed to happen.
we know because you believe the hype and you
Oh,
went for him.
I believe the hype then, and I believe the hype still. I don't think it's gonna take a lot from Travis Etienne for me. And I said this last year. And Tank Bigsby will come up later in the show. I
Hmm.
think he's a goal line kind of threat, and not really much more than that. I think Tank Bigsby is a touchdown guy, not really a yards guy. He's
I,
you. It's hard to call him a change of pace guy because that's not really the thought you have. Travis Etienne is that 3 down kind of guy, but when he needs a spell and it's getting later in the game and you need to just hammer for a yard or two, get a 2 yard touchdown. That's where Tank Bigsby come in, but I don't think he's gonna eat into what Travis Etienne is doing at all.
well, I'm gonna say this: they lost their number one receiver this year.
Yeah,
Well, if you want to call him the number one,
I don't call him the number one receiver,
but
but
if you want whatever, they lost
1B
their 1B
at best.
this year.
Yeah.
They never replaced. They replaced them with a receiver that's not as good as him
Yeah.
and Gabe Davis. So you know what you get with Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis don't show up half the time in games. So, question: they may use Travis as a slot receiver
Not
this year.
would not surprise me at all.
So that's gonna bring more value to
Yeah.
Travis in a whole different scheme of things because at the end of
Agreed.
the day, if they don't have that second receiver, and if you want to call Gabe Davis a second receiver, that's fine. But we all know
He's a part-time second receiver.
he's a part-time second receiver.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
know what Gabe Davis is. But Travis Etienne can catch, and they were going to use him as a receiver
They said it every year since he's been in
every
the
year.
league. Uh-huh.
So don't be don't be crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if they used him in that role a little bit more this year because they don't have that second receiver,
Right.
and they may need to put him in that situation. Now Bixby could come in, and both of them could be on the field, but they could use him as a slot. Think about Travis against a linebacker or Travis against a third corner, a safety. He going at any route he gonna smoke him because he's faster than him.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, just think about that now. That's another route you can go with Travis, and I think they might use Travis for that.
Now,
That
in the comments, we got Jamal saying he doesn't want any shares of Travis. And I'm guessing it's because of his second comment. They did draft the rookie, Brian Thomas Jr., on that team. A threat?
but no, but I just gave you a reason why you should want shares because
Mm-hmm.
they would use him as a receiver, and they may put him in a slot. They may flank him out to the slot to catch a pass. Who knows? He can be used in many different ways
Yeah.
because he's a talented running back / he can catch out the backfield. Now, does that scare me? A lot of people draft running backs. Do they play?
Yeah.
No, not really.
For the certain rookie running backs that I think are worth grabbing. And by the way, I
It's
mentioned
only
Tank
two.
Bigsby from a year ago. I did not recommend Tank Bigsby a year ago for redraft. It was for dynasty purposes only. I feel the same about Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think he's a redraft guy this year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the future he becomes that, but for this year, I see the potential for him being, as he said, going crazy. But nah, I'm not feeling it this year.
Well, let me ask you: Do you think they use Travis as a younger version of um? Hold on, what's his name? I'm having a brain fart here. Give me a minute.
Give me some clues. I can try to help.
No, I got it.
You got it.
Eckler. Do you think they use him as a younger version of Eckler? How Eckler is not a running back,
I get you.
but he's more of a little bit of both. Because Eckler has 900 yards rushing, 800 yards receiving. So he could be in that same stratosphere. Do you think they use him something like that? That's why they drafted another running back? Because remember, Eckler never was a
No, he was
full-time
never
starting
wrong.
running back. He was always the receiving guy. He was always the guy that came in on third down, and he'd get you a touchdown at the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see him being used that way?
I would. I can see the potential, but I think that would be a waste to not use. He was a 1,000-yard running back, a rusher a year ago. So I don't put him in the Austin Eckler kind of category. Austin Eckler was something special, and that offense that they ran in Los Angeles over the Chargers was a different kind of thing. Where I don't see Peterson doing that
Okay.
down in Jacksonville. But I do see Jamal's comment about the price to performance level isn't high enough. I can kind of see right now what is. I think I was looking earlier. Average draft positions for Travis Etienne. He's let me see, like 24th overall. So you're
Yeah.
looking at a guy going, depending on the size of your league, in the second, maybe third
Mm-hmm.
round, probably second. I think his performance is good enough for that level.
Yeah. I
But
don't see why not.
yeah, for if you're telling me Travis Etienne in the first round, I'm 100% on that. Nah, he
He
ain't
ain't worth that.
kinda,
No.
he ain't that. But if I'm doing a late second, early third, yeah, I think yeah. Now the question, I guess to his credit is, with those three, if you count those three running backs there, is that gonna take away from them? Then maybe you might be a little scared off from it. But I'm with you. I'm not that scared of Tank
No.
Bigsby or Brian Thomas.
No, not me either.
No, I don't think either one of them is what Travis Etienne is. At least not
I
at
would
this
have
stage.
to. I would have to see it first.
I have to see it exactly.
I'm just saying. For me, I would have to see it first. But like I said, I could be wrong. But I'm willing to not go high, but I'm willing if he's sitting there in obviously the second, third round.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take that chance on him because he's a high level player, and you can get again. He still can be that receiving threat because he was.
Yeah.
He got you about 300 to 400 yards last year.
I love PPR guys. That's been one of the things you and I
That's
always go for it. And he
yeah.
is the very definition of a PPR running
Oh, of
back.
course,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
So,
All right. Let's hit 3. You can take.
uh, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Isaiah Pacheco. We just talked
Yeah, we
about
talked
DeAndre
about.
Swift, Kenneth Walker III, Rashad White, Karen Williams. On this list, who do you like the most? I know who you like, but let the people know.
On this list, if I get my first choice, I can have any one of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going revenge year for Aaron Jones.
I like that. I like that.
I love Aaron. Hey, it's crazy to me. Aaron Jones was 1,000-yard rusher a year ago, and Green Bay let him go. I get why.
Mm-hmm.
They rebuilding that squad, but I think he has all the motivation, especially going to a team in that exact same division. He has the motivation he needs to just show off this year.
Yes.
And again, I talked about how they built a nice little team around JJ McCarthy. A
Mm-hmm.
good running back will make a young quarterback's life a lot easier, and Aaron Jones still has a lot left in the tank. But I balance that with my love of Joe Mixon for a lot of the
Oh
same
gosh.
reasons. Actually, Joe Mixon, I had to think about for a second because for a second I was gonna have him a little less than where I ranked him. Um, but Joe Mixon's another guy who he gets off to slow starts, but he had a good year just a year ago. Also 1,000 yards, if I remember correctly.
I think
And
he's in a perfect
and I
situation.
think look, hey, what did Devin Singletary do with the Texans? Joe Mixon is better than Devin Singletary.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
So
Who about you? Who's your favorites in this group?
I like Aaron Jones. I do, but I'm a Nick Chubb guy. I know the injury
Yeah,
scares people,
me.
but if you're especially this late, just say like if you're thinking about tier 3, you're thinking about maybe rounds 5, 6, maybe. Um, and you grab Nick Chubb in this late
Yeah,
of a draft, I think that's a steal personally because when healthy, Nick Chubb is the injury was nasty, yes,
yeah.
but
That
I think
injury was scary.
they say he progressing well, and they say he's actually on pace to play week 1. Now, I think it's going to be more a slow pace when they
Yeah.
get him back week 1. I don't think they're going to ramp it up really quick. I think some other running backs we'll talk about later are going to kind of step in and
Hmm.
take that role for a little bit. But Nick Chubb, for me, I think he's definitely high on my list.
Yeah.
I don't know about nobody else, but he's definitely high on mine.
Hey,
Um,
you had him higher than I did, and the only reason was for me was coming off that injury. I don't expect him to be what he was at the beginning of the season, but gradually as it goes. Hey,
yeah,
fantasy football is a marathon, not a sprint.
yes,
I love the fact that you can probably get Chubb later than you normally would.
hmm
And once he gets going, he's
I
gonna
think
be big in that offense. So
you're in some
I
trouble.
love Chubb. I love Chubb. Where I could, Jamal was talking about the price to performance
Yeah,
levels. I think you're gonna get a very good price to performance on Nick Chubb this year.
I think so too. Uh,
Another person Jamal's mentioning is Kenneth Walker the third.
I don't like their
I don't
backfield.
like their backfield.
I don't like Kenneth Walker. Problem is he has to stay healthy. I think
Yeah.
that's his biggest issue. Not saying he's not a good running back. I
Nah,
just
you right on that though.
he has to stay healthy. And the 1 year he was semi-healthy, he did well. Now
Yeah.
it's just he doesn't. It's like he get hit with the injury bug all the time.
Ain't that the case in Seattle though?
Yes,
Because
that is
Rashad
the
Penny
case.
had that exact same issue out there where they couldn't
I
stay
just
healthy.
don't understand it. What if, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it's something in the they putting in their food out there. I don't know. Maybe it's something. It's something weird going on. Um,
yeah,
Now I'm gonna tell you one that, and I have this guy on Dynasty, but Karen Williams probably scares me a
yeah.
tad bit, and I'm gonna tell you why. They drafted that boy from Michigan, and I think
Blake. Mm-hmm.
Blake is gonna get. He's gonna get. And then I tell anybody, if you watch the Rams,
Yeah,
they haven't had a consistent starting running back
yeah.
from year to year in 4 or 5 years. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been by a committee. So that is what scares me a lot with Williams because I don't know if he's still going to get the same amount of carries he got last year.
Karen Wills was a monster in
Yes.
only 12 games
Yes.
last year. He was over 1,100 yards rushing. And my mind, when the offseason started, Karen Williams, I think we did our too early list. Karen Williams was very high. Once that draft happened, he fell very low. Not very low, that's the wrong word. But he fell a lot on my list because we've talked about before. Hey, McVay loves to just ruin fantasy players with running backs, much like Bill Belichick used to do back in the days, where you have a guy that you drafted knowing they were going to be a stud, and
Yep.
then there's a fumble, there's some block that's missed, and then you never see the guy again. And
Again,
when
it's
they saw
terrible.
Blake Kerr, when they drafted Blake Kerr, and I see ATL Flat Football Podcast said that was a great pickup. It was a awesome pickup for the Rams. Bad pickup for people that had Karen Williams on their radar for fantasy football.
Oh my gosh. So
I
let me tell
think,
you something. When
yeah,
that happened, I was like, oh, also like and subscribe, please, people.
oh yeah,
Um, when I got him in Dynasty, and I was like, bro, why?
yeah,
Because he did work for me last year, even though I didn't do great. But he was one of my good pieces that I had, and I'm like, they go out and really do this now.
yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, give me something else. Like, you got to give me something else.
Yeah, I, I love what it does for the Rams, but I'm like, Karen Win. Yo, I see Jamal also has Blake on his dynasty. I think that's a great dynasty pickup, and hey, I let the secret out. Look for me to do it in
Bro,
our dynasty
it
league
is it is
if I can pull
so
it off.
terrible, man. Like why they
But
did
yeah,
that. I'm like, bro, come on. I mean, but he honestly, if you're going based off of last year, based off what he did, you have to put him as a tier 3. I
yeah,
wasn't gonna put him any higher because I see a lot of people
yeah.
before the draft, they
Yo, he
had
was tier
him.
one for me
He
going
was
into
tier 1,
yeah,
but before the draft, he was tier 1. But after the draft, they was like, we're gonna
right.
have to move him down because no. Um, I have a question for you,
Uh huh.
DeAndre Swift. What does
Yeah,
he
I
do
don't know what to do with that. Yeah.
in Chicago this year? Not even just we ain't even talking about Caleb, but in general, what does he do in Chicago?
DeAndre Swift is getting passed around a lot in his young
Okay.
career, and that scares me a little bit. I think it's a good move for Chicago. There's room for him to be successful. We seen a year ago, Chicago kind of just played uh, revolving chairs with the running back position, partially because of injuries they were trying to
Yeah.
deal with, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time they had a lot of guys that were pretty much the same. Uh, I want to say DeAndre Swift can be a difference maker.
Yeah.
They're building up a nice little. I talked earlier about what the Texans and what the Vikings are doing. I think they're doing a good job now of
Yes.
surrounding Caleb Williams with guys, and I think DeAndre Swift can be that guy to an extent. He's not a reliable fantasy option for me. Um,
Okay.
I don't mind him in this tier. I think this is a fairly good position. What are we at? Tier 3. So
Tier
we're
3. Yeah.
talking about maybe round 4, 5 guys.
I mean, this
I
late,
think
are you getting a steal this
here
late?
if DeAndre Swift is my second running back, I'm
Mm-hmm.
cool with that.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna try to shoot a little bit higher than that, but
Yeah, yeah, of
worst
course.
case scenario, if I have DeAndre Swift as my second running back, I think I'm doing well because, like I said, I think there's room for him to do
Mm-hmm.
well in that offense. Um,
I mean,
but in
honestly,
this tier,
I don't see him doing too bad
yeah,
because if you think about it, with the receivers they have, right,
yeah,
you can't really throw an eight in the box because of the receivers they have. You
yeah,
have to respect them. So, me thinking it's going to probably be a four down lineman, two
yeah,
linebackers, and that's the way they're going to run it. And they're probably going to run more of a prevent, not a prevent, but a cover two defense to take away the receivers.
yeah.
Now, that leaves open the running game for him to take advantage of. Now, the question is, does he do it? Like you said, he's been passed around a lot as far as from
Yeah.
team to team. I
Can't
think,
find a home. That
I, I, I mean, he should be able to do it, but I don't know.
number one rusher for Chicago a year ago, Justin Fields.
I
So,
know.
I don't think Caleb Williams is gonna do that. So,
No,
I
no.
think that maybe makes room for a guy to beat him. But if you ask me, is Rashad? I mean, I'm skipping to the person I want to talk about next. Do I see DeAndre Swift as a potential 1,000-yard guy? Not even with total yards. I don't
Yeah.
think that's possible. So for me, he's kind of a low end guy. On this group, in this grouping here,
Hmm.
uh, there are absolutely no guys I take before DeAndre Swift. He's for me. He's the last. He's in last
Oh,
place
of
in this
course.
tier.
I mean, for me, it's I'm I think the way I like Rashad White. By the way,
Yeah, that's.
huge Rashad White fan.
I was
Um,
slipping and almost said Rashad White. Yeah.
no, I'm a huge Rashad White fan. I think
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't get a lot of credit or rumblings
Yeah.
from different because
He's another one of those under the radar guys.
he's
Yeah.
definitely under the radar because he just goes out there and does work. He gets now what he's really good at is in
Mm-hmm.
the receiving game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, really good in the receiving game. So from a PPR standpoint, Rashad White probably out of this whole list for me outside of Nick Chubb and maybe Aaron Jones,
Really.
he's probably three off the board for me easy.
Hmm.
Easy. Because I feel comfortable because I know what what you're getting from him. So
That's still a big statement. I have.
I'm just saying, I mean, numbers don't lie. You
Yeah, I
can
mean,
talk
he has the numbers to back it up. No,
numbers don't lie. You can talk all you want to how you feel about him,
yeah,
but the numbers don't lie how he played last year. And he's been doing that low on the low
yeah.
with a Baker Mayfield, with a bad quarterback before that
Mm-hmm.
for the last 2 years. So he's played well. So you can't take that away from him.
Hey, total yards from a year ago, 1,539.
I mean, I'm just saying,
He had what 9 touchdowns.
nine
That's that.
touchdowns.
Those are very respectable numbers, especially when we're in tier 3. So
I mean, think about it.
I'm not mad at it.
He had 64 receptions for 549 yards and three touchdowns. I mean, he was right at 1,000,
Yeah,
almost 10 yards from
yeah,
1,000.
almost
So,
1,000 rushing. Mm-hmm.
so think about 64 receptions. We ain't even talking about targets because let's say he getting 75, 80 targets a year from the running back position. He's giving you 64 receptions. That's a third receiver on most people's team.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's Gabe Davis numbers. You know I ain't lying.
No,
You know I'm telling the truth. That's Gabe. Gabe will get you about 700 yards a season, about 60 to 70 receptions, maybe 4 touchdowns. That's Gabe Davis numbers as a 2
there's a 2.
in Buffalo. So you're getting that from your running back.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned it yet tonight, but we said before fantasy football is just a game of numbers. You gotta outscore your opponents in key positions. And
Yes.
Rashad White is one of those guys you can say, okay, especially if you're. By the way, every year we talk about draft strategies, and one of them is zero running back strategy. That means that you're not going to go in the first round or two getting a running back. You're going to wait it out while other people are getting running backs. You're going to load up at another position like wide receiver or tight end. We're getting to the point where these zero running back guys are coming in. You might have to go a little earlier than the method to get some of these guys, but these are the kinds of guys that are going to start to fall to that. I can get them in the fourth, fifth,
Of
sixth
course.
round of a draft, and if you can do that with a Rashad White, you're winning because you're going to outscore your opponents in a lot of spots. But getting to the real zero running back
Hmm.
guys, let's go to this next tier.
Okay.
In tier 4, we've got James Conner, who I will admittedly say I sleep on all the time,
All the
and,
time.
and all he does is prove me wrong every year. so,
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah, James Conner, I love. If you could get him late, we got who used to be great, Austin Eckler, now in Washington. Najee Harris, a guy who I've been banging the drum for years. Um, hasn't quite worked out. uh,
Oh
but he's
God.
but he still quietly will put up like 1,000 yards.
Every year.
like
Every
when
year.
everyone's saying he's slow, everyone said that he has terrible yards per carry. Jalen Warren is better. Najee Harris just does it, and so
1,000 yards. Can't be
so
mad at him.
hey, he will. I will love him always. Another guy I always love, David Montgomery, is in this group. Like you said earlier, I think he's going to start losing touches to Jahmyr Gibbs. I was really big on David Montgomery a year ago. I'm still kind of big on him, but less big than I was
Yeah.
last year. You mentioned Raheem Mustard already. Down in Miami, Tony Pollard makes the list. Um, I don't know how I feel about that one. We'll talk about it.
We'll
Ramondre
talk about it.
Stevenson is someone I really think I want to put higher, but I just don't know for real.
He said, "I
I
don't
don't
know."
know. And Jalen Warren, who I mentioned earlier. Who's the other than Austin Eckler, always proving me wrong? Who's the surprise guy on this list that's gonna put up big
Um,
numbers?
you don't like Tony Pollard, but
Yeah,
I'll
I
give you
don't
some
like Tony
numbers.
Pollard.
I'll give you some numbers. 1,000 yards. Now, this is a down year for Tony Pollard. Actually, they say it was a bad year for
Yeah.
Tony. 1,005 yards, 6 touchdowns,
Yep.
55 receptions, 311 yards, no
Yep.
touchdowns receiving. Now, if you do total yards, it's a little over 1,300 yards, 1316.
All right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 1316. So, and you're going to a team that really doesn't have a running back to compete with him. And
Disagree, but
I
continue.
mean, if you want to say Tajay Spears, that's
Yeah.
fine, whatever. But I don't think so. So I
Look,
think
hey, Tajay Spears looks great in off season practice.
okay, all right. I'll let you have that one, but all right.
Alright.
I think Tony Pollard. I would consider it a okay season, not a bad season
Yeah.
like everybody else saying, but I think it was an okay season. I think
I
he's
think
going
it
to
was
a
a good
place.
season, just not
Yeah.
what people were expecting.
Well, when you go, the problem with Tony Pollard is this: the year
Mm-hmm.
before that, when he had Zeke, he was giving
Mm-hmm.
you 12 carries a game,
Mm-hmm.
11 to 12 carries a game, and he was doing a bunch
Yeah.
in those 12 carries, but he was used more as a outside running back, not a
Mm-hmm.
inside running back. And when they let Zeke go, they wanted to make him an inside running back, which he's not.
That's not
He's
his
too
skill
small
set.
for that. That wasn't his skill set. So what
Mm-hmm.
you need to do is you need to play him as a outside the numbers running back where he can get outside to get fast. He's faster than most ends, defensive ends and linebackers. So once he hit that corner, he can get past them. So at the end of the day, you're using him wrong in Dallas. Now let's
Yeah.
hope he's not being used wrong in Tennessee.
And,
So
and this is why I
good.
like Tajay Spears. I think he gives Tony Pollard the chance to go back to what he was
But
when he
that's
was successful in Dallas, and I
But
think he's gonna be the Thunder, and Tony Parker's gonna be the Lightning. So I think there's room for both of these guys to be successful in that offense, assuming they're gonna do it the way I'm thinking. Because
yes,
like you said, they use everybody had really big like Austin
Hi-
Eckler hopes and dreams for Tony
mhm.
Pollard last year, and it didn't come because like you said, they used him. They
They
tried
use
to
him
play him
wrong.
out of what he's good at. In Tennessee, I think he's going to go back to that role, and he's going to be good again. I mean, he was like you
But
said.
you
You put
gotta
out the
but you
numbers.
gotta
He wasn't bad a year ago. He just didn't meet the expectations people had for him. But I think he's
yeah.
going to be in his lane in Tennessee.
But you gotta ask yourself,
Yeah,
even with Eckler in LA, they never use Eckler as an inside running back.
because he's too small, like you said
He's
about
too
Tony Pollard.
small. They
Yeah,
never used him. So they knew how to use Eckler as an outside running
yeah,
back. So therefore, he was successful when he was there. Now, my thing with Tony Pollard is they wanted to make him Zeke. He's not Zeke. First
yeah,
of all, he's smaller than Zeke. Zeke is bigger than him. So at the end of the day, if you was going to keep Tony Pollard there and pay him, you should have kept Zeke there as the inside running back and let Pollard keep that role
yeah.
as the outside running back and go from there. You don't try to make him something he's not. It's just not. It don't work that way. Now, watch he goes to Tennessee, and that may be the case. It may be
Yeah.
thunder and lightning, right? But he's gonna get 15 to 18 carries a game, right? And that could be from running, and that could be from receiving.
Yeah, he's
So
gonna get touches.
he's gonna be more of an impact player for Tennessee because of that, because he can catch out the backfield. We've seen him do it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
and let's not overlook the fact that until proven otherwise, Will Levis isn't that great, and so they're gonna rely on the running game, even the
Bingo.
short passing game as a running game. And they've improved. I think the wide receiver group out there
Hmm.
with Tennessee to try to help them out. So they're also trying to, like we said before, build a team around
Exactly.
a potentially weak quarterback. And I don't want to throw a lot of shade at Will. He's a young guy. This is his second year, so there's room
Prime.
for him to grow. But
Yes.
we saw that he needs help, and I think Tony Pollard does a lot of that. So we're at the point of, like I said earlier, we're getting to your zero running back kind of guys. You can wait quite a bit in your draft. I think Tony Pollard would be a great pickup if I were doing the zero running back strategy. These
Yeah,
are
I
the guys.
think
I'm good with anyone in this group.
I feel like you can get Tony Pollard. Not, I mean, you can get him late. I feel
Yeah,
like you can get him quite late because if you don't have that thought process, like for
mm-hmm.
me, my thought process would be, I hope Tennessee use them this way.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they say, you know what, we're gonna make you Eckler of the Chargers when you know what he was catching.
Yeah.
We seen Eckler get 900 yards on the ground receiving, well 900
Mm-hmm.
receiving yards, and 900 yards rushing. So if not saying he would do those numbers, but he's capable of doing 600 yards on receiving
Mm-hmm.
and another nine or 1,000 yards rushing. He's capable of doing that if you put him in a right situation. So I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
I can see him doing late, definitely.
You talk about getting late right now. Tony Pollard is the 26th running back off the
Bingo.
board in ADB, 85th overall. So you're talking round 8 even.
Yeah,
you're
and
able to get
you're
him.
gonna get a starting running back
Yeah.
in round 8. Think
Round
about
8,
that.
round maybe even round 9. So
Thank you.
go for it.
I mean, if speaking of Eckler, who's on this list, I think it's gonna be the
how do you
same
like?
way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think about him with Washington?
I think Brian
Because he
Robinson
was a
gonna be.
disappointment a year ago.
I don't think he was a disappointment. I think he
Look,
got hurt.
as people who had Austin Eckler on their fantasy team,
Oh, of course,
he was a
yes.
disappointment a year ago.
I think he got hurt.
Yeah,
He got hurt, and a lot of injuries played a part in that. And then, I mean, if you sit back and watch the Chargers game, the coach was horrible last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally did not play Eckler at all for like a quarter or two in a game.
Yeah.
And he went to a fourth string running back.
There were some
What are we
horrible
talking
coaching
about?
decisions made.
Like,
Do you think the situation is better?
I feel like they
the
should
new
have kept him.
coaching? I mean,
feel
with
like
the new coaching situation in Washington, Quinn taking over.
I think so. I mean, I think what they're gonna do is, speaking of the next Brian Robinson. I think he's gonna be the more of the between the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
The A gap, the B gap, running between those. And I think they're gonna use because what he needs. Well, Jaden Daniels needs Eckler to be that guy to that safety blanket out the backfield. Eckler gonna do probably more catching than running this year, probably,
I mean,
if anything.
that's been his whole career. Yeah.
So I think Eckler. I don't think it's a bad place. I feel like Eckler, if he could have stayed with the Chargers, I feel like he should have because all Harbaugh do is run the ball.
But and that's why I don't think he's with the Chargers anymore because Austin Eckler doesn't fit
what he's trying to do,
the offense that Harbaugh's going to try to instill,
which is running the football a lot.
We haven't gotten to them yet, but when we list the running backs that they have with the Chargers now, it's not Austin Eckler.
I mean, I think he's going to be a great safety blanket for Jaden Daniels.
I can see that.
I really think because they don't have a tight end like that.
What do you
Not
think
a good one.
What do you think the split is with him and Brian Robinson? 50-50 as far as touches or
I think it
more Eckler.
I think it would be. That's a tough one, man. Because Brian Robinson, they was trying to push Brian Robinson to be that guy for a couple years now. But I'm gonna say 60-40 Eckler in the beginning. Then I think it kind of grabs back to 50-50 at some point because they're going to see that Eckler, both of them can be used at the same time.
They kind of did that a year ago. I would say Austin Eckler improvement over Antonio Gibson.
I was going to say that.
With that same kind of role. Yeah.
Because Gibson was getting he was getting more love than Brian Robinson was last year at one point because he was catching out the backfield.
Uh-huh.
He was getting those receiving yards out the backfield. So it's going to be something similar, but Eckler's just a better version of Gibson.
I agree.
Honestly. So would you go Eckler late and be happy with it?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm zero running back, Austin Eckler is a good grab. I'm not that dude. I tried it last year. It was semi-successful. I might. It worked.
Yeah.
Look, it worked until it didn't. So but I'm more of the hero. I'm grabbing some guys on it. So for me, Austin Eckler would be probably my third running back, and I would be elated with him in that position. Yeah.
I mean, I'm good with a third. I think if you can get him as your third running back, you can't go wrong with that. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, because say you get a tier 1 guy and you're able to get a tier 3 guy and then you can sprinkle Eckler. Well, like, you set for life on that one. I mean, kind of for the year because you got a guy who could possibly still give you tier 1 numbers if possible.
Tier 1?
Eckler? Okay, if you're telling me if they use Eckler, right, and the way he was used in L.A., well, he's the receiving guy where he's the guy.
He was definitely a tier 1 guy.
He was a tier 1 guy in L.A. Now, if they use him, I'm not saying
if you can get it, then great. But
think about this
happens.
now.
Yeah.
Think about this, right? They're gonna be losing a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so when you lose a lot, you play from behind. So when you're playing from behind, you throw a lot.
Throw the ball.
So who benefits that more? It ain't Brian Robinson, it's Eckler. So therefore, if they're losing a lot, Eckler is going to be the one that's benefiting. That's why Gibson was in the game so much last year because they was losing so much, and he was benefiting 8-9 catches a game for 80-90 yards, doing all of this. And the thing about it is, he was the better running back because he was getting more receiving yards because they was losing.
Yeah, I dig that.
Think about.
By the way, welcome ASDFG Hop to the show. Stream is going all right. Glad you can do us. Hit that like, hit that subscribe for us if you don't mind.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, the one I know you like Najee.
I love Najee.
Najee got something to prove this year.
Yeah,
he got something to prove. He lost a little weight, came in lighter. Diet is good.
Didn't get that
Didn't get
fifth
that.
year extension.
Didn't get that 5th year option. Um, I think he got something to prove.
He does because he wants to get paid.
So, and what round are you taking Najee? Being that you're a Najee fan,
I'm a Najee fan, man. I'm a big Najee
you're a
fan.
Najee fan. I'm just saying.
Najee, you see where he is in this tier group. So
Yeah.
I'm grabbing Najee still, but I'm grabbing him much later than I ever have.
Mm-hmm.
Najee can't get on my team higher than the 4th round,
He
and
said,
that's
"Wait a
if I'm
minute."
gambling.
Wait a minute.
But I'm still targeting Najee. But Najee can at best be my second running back.
Okay.
Because of the other guy on this. Hey, Najee, like I said, he puts up 1,000 quietly, and while people are saying he can't play, he does it. But Jalen Warren has me a little concerned on this list because they will split carries between these guys. I didn't like it when they did it last year, but I fully expect them to do it this year. I asked you about coaching changes with Washington. What do you think about the coaching change? Not at the head position, but offensive coordinator. Hey, last year my mantra was fire Matt Canada.
Yes, Matt Canada was terrible. Get rid of him.
This year they brought in the old ball coach from Atlanta.
They like to run the football.
He likes to run the football.
He likes to run the football a lot, and I think.
You think
I think, honestly, man, I really think Najee is gonna. Jalen Warner is gonna be involved. Obviously, he's gonna get his touches. We all know that.
He should be involved. He's a talented guy.
But I think Najee he has something to, and I think they really want to get Najee involved. Much as they like Jalen Warner, I think they really want Najee to be successful. Yeah. It's just they kept, you know how people say his average is down. He averages 3.5 yards.
He's not a big.
Yeah, he's not a big.
He's not one of the Yak brothers.
Yeah, he's not that. Ain't that. What you got to do is you have to, with the change of offensive coordinators, he's a guy, and we've always said this, he's a guy with more carries, the better he gets. 5-10 carries is not really helping him. And you notice what he did at the end of last year, like he always does, is they started to give him more carries, and he started to look better. He started to produce.
He's a guy who's going to start slow, but towards the end of a game and then towards the end of the season, when everybody's tired, and he is Derrick Henry light going by size. He's going to wear
Think about what he did.
Yeah.
Think about what he did the last 5 games of the year. He was getting the carries.
Yeah.
And I think he was getting more carries than Jalen Warner.
Once they switch offensive coordinators.
Yeah, he was getting more carries, and he started looking like the Najee that we know. Now, and I feel like if you're telling me you can get Eckler as a third running back, if you can get Najee as a third running back, I think you're walking out of there pretty happy.
Probably second if you're in the draft with me, but
we know how you draft though. We all drafted. We draft the same, so we got the same feel of what we want. But it's cool.
But if I do get Najee as my third running back, y'all better watch out for me, because I'm putting the championship up.
Okay, we hear you.
It.
Okay, you ain't win it last year, so I don't.
No, I did not.
No, you didn't. So, other than that, I think Raheem Mostert's 21 touchdowns. Yeah. He doesn't see 21 this year, but
there's going to be some regression.
Yeah. Now, does he give you 8, 9, 10? Could be, maybe.
I'm happy with that.
Me too, but he's not doing 21. Connor, I think. Oh my gosh, Connor is just so. I think you don't like him because he get hurt. You feel like he get hurt a lot.
Look, he doesn't get hurt when I need him to.
I know you like, man, he always get hurt, but every time
I'm betting on him not making it through a season,
he makes it through a season.
So yeah.
Now, do you think Kyler coming back and then Marvin Harrison Jr. being there, does that help him?
Oh yeah,
a lot.
Oh yeah, I think. Look, I've dogged James Conner far too many times. I think James Conner is going to have a good year. I think with Kyler Murray there,
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison there, the Cardinals aren't going to win a lot of games, but I
yeah.
think fantasy wise, they're going to put up some great numbers. So
hmm
yeah, I'm all in on Connor,
I
especially
mean,
if
they
he
gotta
can
get
play.
they gotta get tight end too. So I think,
Yeah,
well, up and
Trey.
coming tight end.
Yeah, I had him in our dynasty league
Yeah,
and
you trade him.
I let him go. I let him go,
Yeah,
and now I
that's what you
kind of
do.
want him back.
You can't get him back now,
Trey
but
McBride, come back if you come back.
once he's gone, he's gone in that league, so you can forget it. So
Yeah. I think Tree has him, and Tree ain't got him.
yeah, we know how that goes. Yeah,
All right,
let's go to tier 5.
tier 5. Um,
Uh,
yeah,
what
this
you
is
got?
you. No, this one's
That's
you.
me. It's me. Jonathan Brooks, Gus Edwards, Ezekiel Elliott, Jerome Ford, Brian Robinson Jr., Devin Singletary, Tajay Spears, your boy Zamir White, and Javante Williams. Let me see. Out of this list, who would I take? I'm gonna
The
shock
answer is
you,
Jonathan Brooks, but who are you gonna shock me with?
Jonathan Brooks.
Oh. Then I'm not shocked.
No, I like Jonathan Brooks. I think
Yeah,
Jonathan Brooks can go there and do work because they have no other running back. And
by
Bryce
Jumbo.
Young need all the help he can get, bro.
Yeah,
All the help. So they got to have some type of running game to help Bryce Young.
yeah.
So other than that, I mean, I'm not high on Zeke. I don't understand the Gus Edwards move. I do, but I don't.
do.
I
Yeah,
do, but Gus Edwards always hurt too.
he does get hurt.
He gets hurt.
That's the one thing I know what they were doing. Look, he got two running. I mentioned earlier that we were going to talk about what they're doing out
Yeah.
there in Los Angeles. He basically just took two broken down running backs from his brother's team because he's
Pretty
gonna
much.
look. They both learned coaching from their father, and the answer is run the ball. And they have two guys that are good with Gus Edwards and another guy that we'll mention on our next team. Neither one of them can stay healthy, but
None.
when they are healthy for those few games they produce. And I think if healthy, Gus Edwards could potentially be in that. I don't know if he gets 1,000 because we never know how many games J.K. Dobbins will actually play.
That's another one. Yes.
But if he plays the whole season as a primary running back, there's going to be opportunities for him to be in that 800, 900 yard rusher. Maybe
Gosh.
touching 1,000, but I don't think so. I would, for health reasons and for the fact of Gus Edwards is good, but not that good. I don't see
Yeah.
him getting there. But if I'm 8 to 900 yards, I'm very happy with that. And the way they're going to run the ball in Los Angeles, and they worked on getting that offensive line really good.
Yes.
I'm all in at this level. At tier 5, give me Gus Edwards. I'm gonna roll with it. And look, if he gets hurt, who cares? Because you're getting him so cheap.
Very
you
much,
know.
yes. Now, the one I would take over, other than Jonathan Brooks, I actually like Zamir White. I feel like
I
Zamir
can't
White,
decide how I feel about him. I think I like it. I think
as
I
the
like
resident Vegas fan here, Raiders fan, how do you feel about Zamir White?
He's not Josh Jacobs.
I mean, obviously we know that. You don't. I understand you're hurt.
Yeah,
We get it.
so-
It's okay. You'll be all right. Okay.
I really wanted, but I say this in the games he's played, Zamir White has looked good. Our offensive line is good enough. Hey, we had the leading rusher in the NFL 2 years ago.
That's true.
Zamir White's not that guy. And they brought in another running back who we'll mention in passing in a second. But I think there's just a big question mark around Zamir White where you just don't know yet because he hasn't had when you have Josh Jacobs, Zamir White's not getting on the field enough.
Well,
really
he got
show
all
you
the
what you can
opportunity
do.
this
But
year.
Now he's got all the opportunities, and
This
considering we did not get the quarterback that we were supposed to get in the
Oh
draft.
gosh.
I hate you, Atlanta Falcons. I think they're going to really try to run the ball, and that's going to give Zamir White the chance to show what he can do. So I like Zamir White for the price point.
Okay.
But you draft him knowing you don't know. So
That's the
yeah,
thing you don't know, but I do like
I like the
because for me,
chance. Yeah.
if you think about all the running backs on this list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brian Robinson is sharing the load.
Yep.
Jerome Ford, possibly he's gonna play a little bit to Nick Chubb get right, but Nick Chubb's coming back. Uh, Zeke, we all know what Zeke is. Slow,
What do you think of Zeke this year returning
slow,
to Dallas? Yeah, I don't see
slow.
much.
I don't see much. Gus is sharing the backfield. Tajay is sharing the backfield.
Yeah,
Javante, we don't know what you're getting from
Javonte
Javante.
Williams, you
I
don't
just
know.
don't know.
Between being hurt and just being Denver, you just
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
just don't know.
Yeah,
So if you ask me, it's only really two running backs that might jump off the screen and say, you know what? If they're there, I'm going to get them. It's Amir White and it's Jonathan Brooks.
I'm with
Those are
you.
the only two.
Those are the two on this list I am most excited about. And give
Yep.
me Gus Edwards for the low, just
For the
because
low, yeah.
just because I know they're going to run the ball a lot. But
Yep.
yeah, I'm with you
It's
there.
just there's a lot of uncertainty with some of these running backs other than those three.
Yeah,
So, and I'm not really I'm not gonna dish Javante Williams. It's Denver and he's always hurt. The man is hurt more than anybody.
yeah,
He can't stay healthy. So I think his best year he had like 900 and some
yeah.
yards, and that was it. So I don't know. I mean, I think
He's a
John
guy to me who should be good, but you
should
haven't
be.
seen it. Yeah, and quite frankly, Sean Payton and me, we not on terms. So
Oh no, no,
if,
no, no,
if
no, no.
will
I
I
agree
be
with you on
will I
that.
be aiming to add Javante Williams to any of my redraft teams? The answer to that
Not
is a
even.
completely patently no, not
No.
even a little bit.
So
But I would add
Jonathan,
him before Ezekiel Elliott. I'll say
yeah,
that.
because I don't know. I don't understand what the whole bringing back Zeke was all about.
They don't know.
I don't understand. Like I don't know if that was to say we messed up with Pollard and we need to bring Zeke back type thing, but that's a little confusing to me
That
because
that says we are trying not to win so many games so we can justify not paying Dak Prescott and just rebuild this thing. Because despite Jerry Jones saying we're all in, this
can't
move
be,
right here tells you they are not all in.
can't be.
Not even a
So
little bit all in.
and then like they had a chance to draft a running back, but they didn't.
Not a single one.
They had a chance to sign Derrick Henry, but they didn't.
Did not. And he wanted to go there.
And he wanted to go
said,
there.
yo, put me in Dallas. I think he was right. It would have been a great land. I was hating it when I heard he wanted to go there because like that would be perfect
It's a
for
perfect spot.
them. And
But I think
they passed.
he ended up in a better perfect spot, like which is
Oh yeah.
Baltimore. But but
look. Hey, if Baltimore is the consolation prize,
I take it.
he's winning.
Yeah. Now, what's your feel on Devin Singletary
He's
in the New
playing
York?
with the Giants. He's gonna.
I
Be
mean, I'm just saying, like, what's your
Giants. That's it. That's my whole comment. Hey, he did well. I think earlier I said he hit 1,000. I was incorrect. He was a little below that. He was like 800 and something
okay?
a year ago in Houston. He's not gonna get it. And by the way, he hit. I think if I remember correctly, not his best season. I don't think it's his best season ever, but it's one of his best seasons. He ain't coming near that. And with the Giants, that team is gonna be.
Or
hot
the team is going to be because they don't have receivers. They
They're
have
gonna be
quarterback
hot.
issues.
They have neighbors, Malik
Yeah,
neighbors,
that's it.
and they have
That's
nothing
it.
else. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have a running back. They don't have a wide receiver other than neighbors. Tight end Darren Waller is never healthy. That team.
Well, he retired.
Oh, he retired. He did.
He retired, so
well,
they don't have nothing.
Yeah, they have nothing.
So I'm not.
The cupboards are.
I'm
bad.
not mad at you, but I feel like. I mean, because he's a starter, obviously,
Okay.
barely. But
Guess
I'm not.
what? Miles Sanders was a starter. And he
And he
didn't.
didn't do nothing either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
So
get it.
okay.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this one. I got you.
Yeah.
Jonathan Brooks, though, I take him.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
I take Jonathan
He
Brooks. So
he this year running back wasn't the position. Wide receivers was what everyone wanted in this draft.
yeah,
Quarterback is what people. Hey, we had 6 drafted in the first round.
6.
Running back was sort of like an afterthought, but
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Brooks is that jewel in this class of running backs, and I think he's going to be phenomenal. That team sucks, but
Team does suck.
it's going to be better. I think this year.
No, I agree with you on that. I can dig that. I can dig that. I do.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an alright list, you know. Yeah, I mean,
And look, we're at tier 5, so right now we're hitting around running backs number 38, 40-ish.
Yeah.
So you know what you're getting at this point. So take
Don't
it for
start
what
them.
it is.
Don't start them day one. That's all I'm saying. Lord.
Yeah, these are guys that are on your bench. You're not hoping to use them. And speaking of guys you're hoping not to use, let's do this last tier.
Let's go.
Tier 6 is the huge group because none of these guys are worth much. These are the last round, maybe round 12, 13, depending on the size of your draft. You don't want to play these guys, but you're taking some shots in the dark at them, and maybe something turns out good for you. Tyler Algier, who as a rookie was phenomenal, and
Till Bijan came.
Pigeon got there, so Trey Benson, another rookie. I'm actually look. If I'm ever right on James Conner, not making it through a year, then Trey Benson is going to be a great pickup. For that team, for Arizona. So look. That Trey, the only reason to draft Trey Benson is as your handcuff, if you will, for James Conner. I mentioned Tank Bigsby earlier. It's just going there. Zach Charbonnet, another guy who really hasn't lived up to what people thought, but he's young.
Nah.
We'll see what happens. You mentioned earlier that Kenneth Walker III can't stay healthy, so maybe that's the door
something.
opening for Zach. Blake Curran, we mentioned earlier, great pickup for the Rams. He is the one that makes Kyron Williams a little less shiny as a tool because, like we said earlier, McVay loves to play games. A.J. Dillon, I'll let you talk on him.
I don't want to talk about him.
You don't want to talk about A.J. Dillon?
No.
J.K. Dobbins, we mentioned earlier, Khalil Herbert in Chicago. Alexander Madison going with the Raiders. He had a chance to shine last year, and he couldn't. So we'll see what happens. Kendre Miller, another guy. He was a rookie last year. Maybe gets a chance to do a little more, but Alvin Kamara is there. Zach Moss is someone kind of interesting.
That's interesting, maybe. Yes.
Damian Pierce.
We just let you talk about him.
No, disappointment is the only word I've got to say. Disappointment and disappointment. And then I mentioned Miles Sanders earlier, who did nothing a year ago, and because of Jonathan Brooks, I expect them to do even less than nothing this year. So, on this list,
I mean, the only one that
Moss is kind of interesting, only because he's a star. They don't really have they let go of Joe Mixon
so he's a year starter.
Ago, who was a 1,000-yard rusher in Cincinnati. Zach Moss had some good games with Indianapolis, but I mentioned DeAndre Swift getting passed around a lot in his young career. This is Zach Moss's third team?
Yeah. 13. Started with Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buffalo, Indiana to Cincinnati.
I mean, a bunch of these guys are backups. Well, all of them are backups.
All of them are backups, except for Zach Moss.
Moss, yeah. Zach Moss the only one. And it ain't no conversation. Zach Moss is the only one. I'm just saying. Look, all know it.
For me, Zach Moss is the only one.
He's the only one.
J.K. Dobbins, if you want to gamble on him finally being healthy, like I said, they're going to run the ball a lot in Los Angeles with Harvard there. But, take a shot in the dark. But you might, like I said, these are the guys you draft in the last. Like right before you draft your kicker, you're looking for these guys here, or you're just looking on waiver wires for when you need them.
I'm trying to
Right?
figure out why AJ Dillon's still on the Green Bay. I would have been like, get me
Yeah.
out of here. Like, I'm gone. But
Look. He's been behind Aaron Jones the whole time, and finally Aaron Jones is gone, and they bring in Josh Jacobs. So,
but you know
so
why? Because
yeah,
Aaron Jones got hurt for a couple games and they
yeah,
gave him a chance
and
to
didn't.
really show what he could do, and he didn't do nothing.
No.
So
Remember
I'm not,
when they were supposed to be 1A and 1B
yeah, and they
for running backs, and that
nowhere near it.
never even came close.
Highly disappointed. He made me
Yeah,
so
yeah,
mad.
yeah.
And I was high on AJ Dillon.
We were both big on AJ Dillon in the early days.
Oh gosh, he's so terrible. Lord have
Yeah.
mercy. Let's just throw the whole list away. Throw this list away. Just throw it away.
This whole tier.
Throw
Except,
this
well,
tier away.
I say this. I don't like Zach Moss, but he, like I said, at this point, he's a starter that you're gonna get.
I
Very
mean,
late.
honestly, Zach Moss is not bad this late.
Yeah.
He's gonna start. We see
He's gonna
if
start.
you get. It's all about opportunity. He got an opportunity in Indy, and he definitely did work. So I'm not mad at him. You know, I ain't mad at him. No,
Yeah.
but that's all we got.
That's it. That's your group. So I can't imagine. Look, we spent the last few minutes talking about AJ Dillon, and so that means we definitely haven't left anyone off the list.
No.
if,
So
if
we're
there's
gone.
if there's another run, well, what one we was mentioned in the comments earlier, Brian Thomas Jr. If you want to go down
Yeah.
that road,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
dynasty.
I guess. But
And even then, But yeah, that's it. That's your
it.
running backs. So right now we got you set on quarterbacks. We got you set on running backs. Hey, we're gonna be talking receivers in another 2
weeks. So we'll see you.
So we'll see y'all then. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you've
Peace.
enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments and everywhere else what you guys think. And to them, peace out.
Peace out.
Later.
Later.